Hi everyone. Happy Saturday to you, or whatever day it is that you're looking at this. Tomorrow is Sunday, and for the world, it kind of marks the beginning of what is called Holy Week. It has a significance in history, and I think it still has a significance today too, Holy Week. How did it begin? What's the story of how Holy Week began? Well, we know it began with a big gigantic parade. People were lining the streets, lined up along each side of the street, looking down the road to see what was coming, because a procession was about to enter. And people were waving palms, these palm trees. They were waving branches. They cut off branches, they were waving them, they were shouting. Some of them even took off their coats and put it on the road, all in expectancy of what was coming down the road, all in expectancy of what they were about to see happen. And what is it that they were about to see happen? Jesus riding down the city road on a donkey. Now, what made this riding into Jerusalem different than any other time? Jesus had been into Jerusalem hundreds of times. Why was this different? Because at this particular time, they were shouting, Hosanna, Hosanna, which translates, save us, save us. They were seeing a king on a donkey riding down the city streets, and they were proclaiming that king as king, and they were proclaiming his kingdom to now come and have authority in Jerusalem. Now, there's some important things and details to pay attention to in this particular story. The donkey that Jesus rode in the city on was just that. It was a donkey. It wasn't a war steed. It wasn't a horse that was armed and ready for war. He did not come into Jerusalem with a sword in his hand and bloodthirsty. When Jesus rode into Jerusalem, he was coming as the Prince of Peace, as a peace bringer, as a peacemaker. He was also entering through the Golden Gate, which had a nickname as the Mercy Gate, the Gate of Mercy. Again, that was the gate that the Messiah was to enter in. That was also the gate in the Old Testament times that the Shekinah glory of God came through. And Jesus, when he entered, came through that gate. Before he entered the gates of Jerusalem, he actually came up the road that the Passover lamb actually came up. And so Jesus entering the city, even in this Holy Week procession of Palm Sunday, was entering as the Passover lamb, entering the city as the lamb that would take away the sin of the world. And all of those things that he did to fulfill the words of the prophecies that had gone long before, saying that this is how the Messiah will come. But that day, when he rode into Jerusalem on that Palm Sunday, many years ago, it marked the beginning of a Holy Week that would change the world. And in fact, it has. It has changed our world. Well, that's the past. Let's conclude by just bringing this to the present. How in the world can our Holy Week starting tomorrow change the world? Because I believe it can. I believe what we do for the next 7 days in the world can change the course of history. And here's why. Number one, I believe we can take a stand. We as believers and we who need help, we can take a victorious stand, number one, and we can wave our palms and declare and stand in the victory of Jesus. We can declare and walk in his victory over all. Just as they waved their branches, we can declare victory with our declaration that Jesus is Lord over all, and there's nothing that he is not victorious over and cannot conquer. Number two, the palms are number one. Number two, our coats. The coats represent submitting our ways and our thinking to him, laying them down on the road and allowing the king to walk on our own ideas. Not our way, but his way. Not what we want, but what he wants. Allow him to ride in, to come and submit our ideas to him and allow his ways to be supreme over our ways. Number three, I believe we really can shout, deliver us from sickness, deliver us, save us from economic collapse, save us from poverty, save us from sin. We need you, we need you. We can declare that. Hosanna, save us. And then finally, number four, we can allow him to enter our cities. We can allow him to rule over our cities with his authority. His kingdom come, his authority come, his ways, thy will be done in the earth as it is in heaven. And I believe if we can take those 4 steps this next week as a people, as a group and a body of believers, we truly can make this Holy Week, this year, 2020, a Holy Week that truly will change the world. So take that thought, go, and tomorrow and the rest of the week, let's declare the King in our cities and in our lives and his victory in our world. Go with God. Take care.